Hi everyone, welcome to Film Log update number 26, covering most of the films I watched or rewatched during January and February of this year. So yes, 2024, already we are now doing, at the end of March, January and February. So yes, let's dig in to my brief thoughts on a variety of films, obviously, as always. Laptop in front of me, very informal video, and yeah, at the end will be as well, saying my favourite first watch of January and February this time. So yes, let's get into the video, of course. First film of the year was License to Kill. I think I did mention that perhaps last time round, to kick off the new year, I wanted to watch a Bond film again, and License to Kill. It's one of my favourites, personally, in the franchise. Certainly, it's a film that I've always loved, and yeah, just one of the best for me personally. And Timothy Dalton at his best as Bond. So yes, great way to kick off the new year. Next up, we have Glengarry Glen Ross, of course, a very talked about film. I'd never seen this before, and yes, certainly a film that I really enjoyed. It started off a little bit, confusing for me. Just the way it was, the dialogue, exchanges, some confusing parts for me. Because it was quite, just quite chaotic, I guess, and that is the point. But yes, by the end of this film, I think I have a kind of quite a good memory of seeing this, and it was a very good film for me. Very good writing. I think the acting was great from a lot of the cast here. Jack Lemmon, of course, seeing him in a later role than what I've seen him before, and obviously Al Pacino, Ed Harris, great cast, and I did really enjoy this one. Some great moments, definitely with the dialogue and of course just the way it kind of comes together in the end. So yes. Then we have Cassandro. This is a story of a very recent film, story of kind of an amateur wrestler and his rise. I guess, and yes, it's a film that I did enjoy. The first half was way better. It did kind of become a bit meandering, and it kind of went off. And in the second half, and especially the final act, it didn't quite deliver what I thought it would. But definitely overall a solid film that I did enjoy. Performances from Gael Garcia Bernal, especially was really, really good. And yes, just a very interesting film. So yes. That was on the 3rd. Going through here. Past Lives. This is a film, another recent film that I checked out. And this is a one that kind of left me feeling a bit cold when I think on it. It's not one that I was that big on, really. It's a solid film. It's okay, I guess. But it was just, yeah, a bit too kind of depressing. I found it to be, and just the way it was. Told, the actual narrative, I think some good moments in there, really interesting moments. But overall, it's a film that I can say I liked, but I wasn't huge on this one. Just not really for me in terms of the tone, just the feeling. It lacked, something, and it left me, as I say, a bit cold personally. So there we go. Oppenheimer, though, I have talked about this film. Previously, I thought this was very, very good. It's one of the best films, of this year for me that I've seen, and not one of my favourite Christopher Nolan films, but definitely better than, for me personally, the last two films that he made, being Tenet, which I unfortunately wasn't big on at all. I didn't like that one, and also Dunkirk, which I did like, but I preferred Oppenheimer. So yeah, definitely a very good film, and again, I did talk about this recently. So yes, going through Saltburn, another recent film that I'd been hearing about. This was a solid film. It's one of the better films, perhaps, that I saw of that year, and definitely some moments that I did not, appreciate really. Just some moments that went too far for me, and not a great film, but I can say I was very invested for the most part, and I think the first half, as well, definitely had me more than the second half. But there's some really unique things in this, and just I thought it was a good film personally. So there we go. Husbands and Wives, of course, a Woody Allen film, which previously I'd seen, a few months ago, Annie Hall, which I wasn't huge on. I liked, but again, it left me fit with that kind of aftertaste of just a bit, draining. There's something that's very cynical about, Annie Hall, personally, just for me. And this one, Husbands and Wives, you know, I thought it was better than Annie Hall. Again, it had that kind of a slight, you know, slight that feeling there as well, the similar feeling to Annie Hall, but it was better. And you know, again, it was a good film for me personally. So there we go. Annihilation. You know, it's a 2010s film, kind of a horror sci-fi. Very strange film. I can't say, you know, it wasn't a bad film, but it did not, you know, really do it for me. So I didn't like this one. Just, you know, I can't really remember a lot of it now actually as well. But you know, I did not take to this one personally. So there we go. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 70s version. I like this one. Of course, Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams as well. I've been meaning to see this for many years, and yeah, a good film. You know, an interesting atmosphere. It went off the rails a bit as the film went on, but overall, I liked the film. You know, I did think it was quite interesting. So yeah, it was a film that I'd recommend seeing. Next up, we have Hairspray from John Waters. Kind of going back to his films now. Not a film that I enjoyed personally. You know, I had a great time in 2021. Actually, ages ago now. You know, starting to go through his films. You know, I think the first sort of few, particularly some of the 70s films from him, you know, were his best, and you know, I really did appreciate those ones, you know, to a degree. But you know, I think you know, there's a few of them that I've just not been really into. I can't say I've enjoyed, and Hairspray, unfortunately, is one of them. Next up, we have Troy. Of course, did pick this up as I showed quite recently. You know, around the New Year time, and you know, I'd seen this quite a bit as a kid. You know, it's a very, you know, it's a very controversial one. You know, some people really don't like it. I was always very big on this as a kid, and wanted to see this again. You know, kind of see what I thought of it. For me, it's a very good film. It's not, you know, this great film. You know, I guess, and you know, kind of elements of this stuck out to me more, you know, as a kid than other parts. But you know, yeah, I think it definitely has some big flaws for me personally. You know, some of the character working as well. It could have been more consistent. But overall, Troy is a film that I do enjoy quite a bit. You know, I love the kind of legends aspect of this, and the portrayal of Achilles, especially. Brad Pitt, you know, personally for me, is great in this film. You know, I love Sean Bean as well. You know, he's kind of very subtle character that he plays. Some great action scenes for me, especially the first big one, you know, on the beach. Of course, very iconic. And yeah, just you know, I had a really nice time watching this again. Actually, so yes, Troy. Personally, I thought, you know, I think it's a very good film. I'm very big on this one. Then we have Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Just scraping into the like mark for me because it was really underwhelming. This one. A lot worse than the first one for me personally. And you know, that was an okay film. It was fine. You know, I thought, what would this one be like? And it was worse, even though we have Jim Carrey, who's very good in this film. You know, it was a worse film for me. So, you know, it's just a lot of things, you know, I was really not big on in this. And again, the comedy really let it down. Scary Movie next, rewatching that. You know, it's been many years actually since I saw this, really. And yeah, saw this, and I saw the third one as well. You know, I think the first one is the best, but 1 and 3 for me, scary movies, they're the only ones I like. And personally, yeah, there's the best ones to me. You know, quite hilarious at times, especially the first, and yeah, quite a nostalgic film to me as well. You know, especially the first one. I watched it quite a few times, you know, when I was younger, of course. So yes. And then we have Steven Soderbergh's Traffic. You know, quite a few cast members in this, of course, Michael Douglas, Benicio del Toro. So a very interesting film. This I'd heard about this for many years. It was fine, you know. It's definitely one that I did really like, some, you know, elements and storylines, but you know, other parts well, I wasn't big on. But yeah, I'd recommend seeing this one. It's a very gritty film. You know, it's quite disturbing at times, and yes, overall, yeah, it's a very interesting film. The way it's told, some of the things, you know, yeah, some of the visuals and the way it's a bit too off-putting for me. Could have been a bit more subtle, personally, but overall, you know, I think you know, it's a good film that I did enjoy seeing. So yes, then we have Traffic. Next up, The 7-Year Itch from Billy Wilder, of course. Marilyn Monroe, you know, in this film, and yeah, it's a film that I'd heard about for many years. It's a fine film. It's not one of Billy Wilder's best films for me, but you know, I did enjoy this. A very breezy film, mostly, you know, kind of one location kind of at times, and yeah, it's just a very pleasant, at times film, and yeah, it's investing for me. So a good film, The Seven Year Itch. Next up, we have Killers of the Flower Moon. Of course, a massive Scorsese fan. Wanted to really, like this film, but it was just the one that, I guess, yes, I liked it, but I was very underwhelmed, and for me, once again, just, it really was too long, just purely because, I wasn't that invested, overall at first, and then, because it was a long film, and also I think it did peak, in its first hour, so that was a shame, but. I appreciate the film. I thought it was some very good performances at times. Definitely. The sets and the kind of passion put into this. I can see, of course, but it just wasn't really for me in terms of, I didn't love this film. I liked it, but it was a bit hard going for me. So yeah, it's not one of my favourites from Scorsese personally. Then we have, of course, Boulevard. This was a Robin Williams film. Really, of course it. Yes, in the year he sadly passed away. I'd not seen this film before, and yeah, it was a good film. It's not the most highly regarded film, I guess, but from his filmography. But I did enjoy this more than I thought I would. I think, and yeah, it's a really good performance from Robin Williams, of course. A very different film for him, but yes, I did enjoy it. And I did appreciate the film. I thought it was a good film, personally for me. 3:10 to Yuma, of course, James Mangold version, and Christian Bale, Russell Crowe, of course, together. I did, yeah. I thought this was very good. It's definitely, it had some patches that were a bit underwhelming to me, a bit flat, but overall, all things considered, it's a very good Western, so yeah, it was nice to see that. Then we have Beautiful, of course, Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, Javier Bardem in this film. I thought this was okay. I probably enjoyed it more than 21 Grams. And yeah, one of those ones. Not one of his best films, but I thought this was interesting, and it was investing, and it did have some things that I was quite interested and moved by. So yes, there we have it. It's an okay film. Would recommend it. Then we have Boss Level. Kind of this video game-esque film. Frank Grillo, of course, in this film, and I enjoyed this one. Not much to say here. It's a solid film, and it has some really interesting elements. Got a bit repetitive at times, but it was a fun film. Hell or High Water, a Western film that I expected a bit more from, actually. Now seeing it finally, but it was a solid one. Good performances. Enjoyed the setting, and some just the kind of at times a simple plot. I guess I enjoyed that, and yes, it was an interesting film to see. Some interesting moments. Quite tense at times, and yeah, it wasn't a great film for me, and I expected overall this to be just for me as a viewer to be more investing. But there we go, Hello High Water. Going through there, Francis Ha, of course, it's quite an iconic film. It was okay. I guess it was just a bit. Some of the characters were a bit irritating. I guess at times, just the kind of some of the kind of attitudes in it. It's just a bit kind of one-sided. The whole kind of the whole kind of lifestyle, and the kind of way in which they're kind of approaching life. I know it's just one such perspective, but it was, films like this. It's just a bit, frustrating to watch. It's a bit not depressing, but the lack of hope. Kind of hope for the future. I guess that's what it is kind of all tied to. It's not really my kind of thing in the way some of these films are done. There's a lot of films where they just kind of make out as if once you get to a certain point, that's the everything's all kind of doom and gloom, or it's just for me, it's not really my kind of outlook, I guess, on life, and so kind of some of the characters as well, a bit irritating for me. So overall, it had some interesting moments. The script at times was interesting, some good performances, but overall, not a film that I loved personally. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Finally seeing this film, and a very good film for me. Do I prefer it to the first one, Into the Spider-Verse? Probably not. But overall, it's kind of close at times. I think there was definitely some things that I'm, was more into, and that I liked. In this one more than the first, and I think, it's really cool to see different, things going on in this film. But yeah, I won't kind of get into that, because spoilers. But yes, definitely really enjoy this one. One of the best films, of this year that I've seen. Quite close to the top so far from what I've seen of 2023. So yes. Then we have Sing Street, the last film of the month, and just a great film for me, you could say, and I really did like this one a lot, and just thoroughly investing, the characters, the comedy in this film, just constantly entertaining and nostalgic, of course, as well. So Sing Street, of course. Then we went into February, we have Bicycle Thieves, a very acclaimed Italian neorealist film, of course, from the 40s, 48 it was, and yes, a film that I've heard about for many, many years. I finally saw this. This was very good, I thought, and it's definitely quite, it wasn't, a film that I loved personally. It was a bit kind of, kind of grueling, and at times as well a bit flat for me. But overall, very good film. Definitely a film that I would recommend, and I was very pleased with this film overall. And I will say yes, that was the start of actually. I'll say it now. Kind of a service that I've now invested in, not streaming, but of course Cinema Paradiso. Kind of rental, physical media, of course. So that's the thing. I thought getting rid of a few streaming services, not having loads and loads of money to kind of just buy all these Blu-rays, and who knows what I'll think of said film and buying them and all this kind of stuff. And at times recently as well, kind of having to just thinking I might as well sell that film because I don't like it. So I thought finally investing in something I wanted to do a few years ago, and it's basically kind of like love film of the past, which I used to have, but getting Blu-rays, 4Ks even, sent to you in a post, and it's a good kind of thing because it's very quick, getting around at the moment, 2 a week, kind of physical media sent to me, so just to watch, rent obviously. So yeah, I thought it was all things considered, a good service to invest in. And yes, the second film of that was Cinema Paradiso itself, the actual film. So yes, finally seeing this film, and I did. I loved it, I really did. This is the film that delivers. Very nostalgic, and quite dark at times. As the film goes on, I think it was a bit, sad, and just a bit too dark at times. Slight lack of hope. But overall, what can I say? I did love this film. I thought it was great, and of course the Ennio Morricone score, which I've heard many, many times before, actually. Over the years. Was great, and just a wonderful film, especially the first half. I thought that was near masterful, if not masterful, and overall it's still a great film, but just less, under the second half, of the film. The second half, I think, it wasn't as good, as the kind of the main bulk of the film, and especially the first half. But highly recommend seeing this, and it was a wonderful film, and it's very moving and nostalgic, as I say. So yes, then we have next up we have The Freshman, Harold Lloyd. Seeing this film, wow, very, very enjoyable one, and quite hilarious. This and Safety Last, I think, and I actually do have Safety Last still. Yeah, it's down here. Safety Last. Saw this in 2022, and really enjoyed this one. But I think perhaps The Freshman at times was even better, more enjoyable. Overall, probably, Safety Last probably edging it out. But certainly, it was a close one, and a very charming silent comedy, of course. And want to see more Harold Lloyd films. Always, no matter what mood I'm in, always uplifted and taken to a magical place. With really most silent films I've seen, and especially all these guys. Chaplin, Keaton, now Harold Lloyd to check out. Certainly it's been really nice so far. It just it really is. It brings me back to the childlike sense of wonder that I had. watching different films, classics. It really is wonderful to see. So yes, The Freshman, is a really good film for me. And then we have skipping over a few films here. The Descent, a film that I saw when I was younger and didn't like, and thought I'd give it another go. Still don't like it personally. Had some interesting moments, but overall, the characters, the script, just the kind of it was a bit sluggish, definitely. So I didn't enjoy the film. Then we have Idiocracy. This was quite a unique film. At first, I praised it quite a bit. It went off, the rails, and it's a bit lazy in the comedy, but some interesting ideas. And overall, I did enjoy this one. If it was a quite interesting, kind of fun, nostalgic comedy film. Then we have Bone Tomahawk. Wasn't big on this one. I think it was a bit too gross at times as well. A bit too grubby. Some of the scenes. I found one of the scenes I kind of just looked away at, because it was a bit too much for me, in terms of the violence, and just, I thought I wasn't, big on the film at that point. I thought it's not really worth me seeing, for a scene that violent when I'm not, big on the film. So I did just look away. But very, very, harrowing film. I was big on the film at first quite a bit, but it did lose, my kind of investment, and it lost, my kind of my heart, attachment to it, because it really did become quite cold and quite gross, as the film went on. So yes, then we have Adventureland. This was a one that I did. I loved actually, and I thought it's a really nostalgic film. Kind of Jesse Eisenberg as well. So it was great in this film, and just a really, really nice film to see, and just uplifted me. It was very, very warm and charming. Good Night, Mr. Tom. This kind of this wonderful film that I saw when I was a kid, quite a few times, and it's been many, many years since I saw this. So yes, seeing it again, love it. Really, really do love this film, this British film, of course, and just so warm. It got some dark moments, of course, but it is overall such an uplifting film, and just I've seen it many, many times as a kid, and it was really wonderful to see it again. So yes, Chronicle, a superhero film, kind of a found footage one. It was a good film. Definitely at first it was better, but overall, I did enjoy it. It was a unique superhero film, I guess, and it was one that had been on my radar for a while. Finally seeing it, it was an enjoyable film that I was invested in. Final act, and in general, the action wasn't really, I wasn't really into. It's kind of wasn't that invested in the action, but overall, it was a good film. And then we have Asteroid City, the latest Wes Anderson film. Unfortunately, I wasn't big on this one either, as well as the French Dispatch, that I didn't like. I thought this was better, but it still wasn't a like from me. So that's a shame, just for me, for my liking. I haven't enjoyed the last two that I've seen from Wes Anderson, and Isle of Dogs as well. Wasn't huge on that one. It was okay, but it's a film that I've seen it twice now, and I'm not really that into too much. I more appreciate the animation and stuff with that, but I wasn't big on that. So hopefully I can really enjoy more the next Wes Anderson films. One of my favourite filmmakers, really, but the last few have not been for me, really. So there we go. Good Morning Vietnam, another Robin Williams film, a famous one that I'd seen a couple of bits from before, but overall I'd never seen it all the way through. And this was a really, really good film. Very funny, and you kind of explosive comedy, but also a very investing drama as well. And then we have The Prestige, once again a Christopher Nolan film that I'd seen, obviously, and reviewed on the channel quite a few years ago now, and finally rewatching this one again, and what an experience. This is one of my favourite Christopher Nolan films. It's just it is a masterpiece for me. I think this and another one of his films, very close on my ranking, but yes, it's definitely high on my ranking, and I thought just once again the characters, some of the best dynamics of Christopher Nolan film, and it's just constantly from the get-go so investing, thoroughly kind of investing, and just wow, it is a mind-blowing film, and it left me with that kind of in that state of awe afterwards, and wow, stunning film, definitely among my favourites from Christopher Nolan. So there we go. Day after that, One-Eyed Jacks, seeing this. This is the only, obviously, Marlon Brando directed film, and I'd heard mixed things about this. It's quite a divisive film, so I thought I'd finally see this again. I saw it on Cinema Parody service, and yeah, this is a film I did not enjoy at all. Unfortunately, it felt very just there was no energy to the film. There was just nothing really that kind of invested me too much. Marlon Brando was good in the film performance-wise. And some interesting moments. At times, but really this was a big no for me. I wasn't big on this at all, and it's a divisive film. I'm just not. I'm not big on this one personally at all. As a massive Western fan as well, I really was looking forward to this. The potential of this, I did have my doubts, but yeah, it's not a film that I enjoyed personally. One-Eyed Jacks, a very fascinating film, but yes, not one that I can say I like. But after that, I saw Ex Machina. So obviously, I'm not massive. I've said before, kind of modern sci-fi, kind of thing. But this was, it was interesting. It was okay. Again, it had some of the same things. I'm not really big on in some modern sci-fi. A bit cold at times, but it was a human kind of approach, I guess, and attempt. And I did enjoy, especially in this film, Oscar Isaac. His performance was really good in this. But yeah, it was one that it lost my interest at times. It's never really one that blew me away personally. But yes, it was an enjoyable film overall. So there we go. Sisu, not a big fan of this at all. Didn't enjoy it. I thought, just not investing. Just violence. That was, very full on. But it really didn't have much to offer for me personally as a viewer. I didn't really take anything from it. It started off, okay, I guess, in a sense. But it just went on and on. I wasn't invested in this. Some interesting moments, but overall I didn't like it. There we go. She's Got to Have It, of course, Spike Lee, his directorial debut. So finally seeing this, and I'd never seen a Spike Lee film until this, so I thought it'd be good to start with this and kind of go through some of his films, of course, as well. This was definitely good for a debut. Had some good character working. And I thought the setting and just the way he kind of used that as a character as well was interesting. The way he told the story as well, just kind of self-aware. It was very interesting at times. So yeah, it was an okay film. Not the one that I was big on, but I think it was very impressive for a debut film. Very inspiring. So there we go. She's Got to Have It, of course, from '86. So there we go. And Charade, of course, Cary Grant, Audrey Hepburn. Wanted this to be better than it was for me personally. I was, for example, a few years ago, I would have, I was about to watch this film at one point, and I thought, just seeing it now, it's a shame that I quite built this up quite a bit. It just wasn't personally for me as a viewer, a great film. It was a thriller that wasn't that thrilling at times as the film went on, and it was a bit convoluted, and just some things that kind of took me out of the film as well. Some of the moments didn't work too well, but yes, Charade, it was a good film, a solid film. That I could say it was definitely charming, and I enjoyed it. But overall, not the one that I kind of I was huge on, personally. But yes, there we go. Going through some here. Mother, of course, Bong Joon-ho. I'd never seen this film. Had heard great things about this at times, and just wanted to see this and check it out. Wasn't huge on this one. I enjoyed it. It's definitely well told at times, but it was just not one that I was fully invested in, really, and it was a bit dark at times. Just a strange tone. I think a lot of the time as well, and just the outcome of this didn't really satisfy me much as a viewer, and it's a film that I was always kind of watching and admiring at times, but overall it just wasn't a one that I was fully behind, even from the first act. But it was it was a commendable film. So Mother, of course, and I also as well, so now this month, I did watch Parasites finally, and I enjoyed that one. I thought that was better than Mother, but we'll talk about that obviously in the next update one. So there we go. Manhattan. This was definitely better than, for me, Annie Hall. It was more my kind of thing. A bit more charming, a bit less kind of grimy, and I think it also, the great thing about it was in black and white, so it looked just more pleasing on the eye for me than Annie Hall, and just the characters and the tone of this was a bit a bit more hopeful, a bit less cynical than Annie Hall, and I did enjoy this one. So definitely the best so far Woody Allen film that I've seen, Manhattan. So yes, it was a nice film, I guess, overall. Then we have The Howling. Now this is the one that very interesting film. Saw it as probably say around 10, 11. That's how old I was when I first saw this, and I saw it again at one point when I was a teenager, a bit later. Just as a werewolf film, I was kind of I saw loads of different ones, back then. Underworld as well. Was never huge on those films. Obviously, American Werewolf in London, I was, but I just watched these films, because I was very fascinated by werewolves, vampires, all this kind of stuff. But The Howling for me is not actually a film that I enjoy overall. It's not the characters, the script. It's just very flat, and it's a very strange film actually. When we get into the kind of werewolf shenanigans, you could say. And just by the end of it, it's just kind of a bit too silly for me, and it wasn't really one that I got invested in. I think some of the effects and everything, is commendable. I really enjoyed that. I thought just some of the atmosphere as well and the setting, was really, really good. But overall, just because of all the other stuff, the characters and stuff, the actual investment of the narrative wasn't really there for me. So there we go. The Howling scene I did as well. I'll quickly say, when I was a kid, kind of the first time I did see it, I kind of shortly after saw the second one, or tried to, and I couldn't get through it. So that's quite notoriously, kind of panned film, that one. The second one, the first sequel. I think there's quite a few of the sequels, obviously, that I've never seen them. But yeah, it was interesting because I do have a memory of trying to see that one, the second, and having to put it off, I guess, because it was just so bad for me. But there we go, The Howling, and then we have The Place Beyond the Pines, the last one of the month. February, of course, on the 29th. And yes, did enjoy this one. I thought, the first story was way better than the other ones, I guess. And just, it was quite a surprising film in the way it kind of shifted gears, kind of, in the narrative and the perspectives. And so I wasn't expecting that, and, it never really lived up to the first one. Overall, it's a good film. I did enjoy it, and I thought, there was something to take from each of the stories, some really good stuff, but overall it did kind of get worse and worse in that sense for my investment. Overall though, especially the first story, the first act, that was really investing, and it was a good film, a very interesting one to see. So there we have it. That's what I've been watching, of course, most of the films. So now we have the favourite first watches of January and February, and for January it had to be Sing Street, the last film of the month, and for me, the best first watch of the month. Loved this film. It had some moments that I wasn't big on, in the outcomes, but overall definitely the best one of January for me that I watched for the first time, and just a nostalgic, as I've said, and charming film, really funny, and just quite inspiring as well. So there we go, it's Sing Street. February was a close one, I guess. I think. Overall, though, I had to be looking back on the fondness for it overall, consistently, as well, what would I look forward to returning to overall consistently for a rewatch, and for that kind of thing, and it had to be Adventureland. There's another one that was very, very close in there, but had that one been more consistent, it would have been a top. But for overall, the experience watching this, what I felt afterwards, and the uplifting nature of this. I really loved Adventureland. For me, a great film. It's great to finally see this one. It's one of those really just nostalgic, kind of easygoing at times, kind of films that is also really investing, and I loved, a lot of the characters in this, and it's just so, yeah, uplifting and kind of peaceful at times, and just yeah, it was an inspiring one, and just yeah, it made me feel very hopeful and very uplifting. Warm film, and otherwise, in an otherwise kind of very cold, month. I'm not big on the winter really at all, and it's great to kind of just escape and just on a cold night and to watch this warm film. It really was very nice to see, and yeah, Adventureland. I would highly recommend that. So that's January, February, and that's the video. So what do you think of these films? Feel free to leave your thoughts on all of these films. If you've seen them, have you seen these films? What have you been watching over the last few months? And if you want your favourite first watches, of these months as well, including if you want to March, because as usually I do this at the end of the month, which is after the previous two that I'm covering. But yeah, it's just the way I do it. And of course, look forward to the next video in the series of this, seeing and explaining what I've been watching. March has not been a great month overall for films for me. Especially the last week or so. But I have some things to cover, and yeah, I look forward to April as well. Fast approaching now. So yes, that's it. That's my thoughts. Feel free to leave your thoughts, and of course, it'd be great to hear what you've been watching as well over the last few months. So yes, as always, take care, and thanks for watching.